what you deserve. Bow down before the one you serve. You're going to get what you deserve.
Now back to the morning show.
President Clinton was in town last night for a fundraiser in support of his wife, candidate Hillary Clinton. Some disrespectful ass actually accused the president of being part of a 9/11 cover-up. Bill was not happy. President Clinton's 50-minute speech. Now, let me stop right there. There's not a person in the world I'd like to listen to speak for 50 minutes.
If you watch a tape of this, he is, obviously he's
really
not my cup of tea, but he is not only brilliant, but that guy, he can rattle things off. Mm-hmm. He has a photographic memory where he comes up with statistics and numbers and whatever. He lulls you into, by the time it's done, you're going, wow.
So in other words, he makes it up as he goes along.
Of course so.
Oh, he's got an incredible command. I mean, I was listening one day. I heard the start of his speech. I was driving home from the track. So I'm just about to change the channel because I don't want to, I don't have the attention span. But I have to admit, he hooked me in there for about a half hour.
Well, he's a very, very good speaker, very charismatic guy,
Yeah.
Just, true. It is what it is.
He hooked you in for a half hour,
did he? For me, listening to someone talk for a half hour is,
I could listen to a lot of those guys speak.
I got closer to killing them than anybody's gotten since.
You know, who I heard speak one time was Tom Brokaw. He's a hell of a speaker.
Yeah.
He is. But he did about 20 minutes, and that was enough. President Clinton's 50-minute speech, which started about an hour behind schedule, was derailed briefly by several hecklers in the audience who shouted that 2001 terrorist attacks were a fraud.
Oh, boy.
Rather than ignoring them, Clinton seemed to relish a direct confrontation.
An inside job? How dare you? How dare you? A fraud? No, it wasn't a fraud, but I'll be glad to talk to you if you'll shut up and let me talk. Now, well, at least sticks and stones can break my bones, but words will not hurt me.
Did you see Bill Maher's show Interrupted, the HBO show?
No, I can't stand it.
I saw it on YouTube, yeah.
I know you can't stand them, but it's kind of scary. It's like these people won't stop.
Hey, do we have some security in this building? Or do I have to come over and kick this guy down? Could you get the out of my building? Hey, out.
What was that guy screaming about?
Oh, this is increasing more and more. I've heard it on several different talk shows. This is the 911 conspiracy.
Yeah, I'm really tired of that.
But these people didn't stop. They hauled this guy out, and then there were more. And it's like, you never know if somebody's going to have a gun or something one of these times.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think any violence has been involved yet, but they have been incredibly annoying. They keep, hijacking talk shows and...
You know what that's all about? Of all the things I've said, and believe me, I've said a lot of things, as you all know, that could get my head on a block. The one that they protest about out here is the people who think that the World Trade Center was a controlled explosion. You see, in that instance, I'm actually defending President Bush.
Which you should be.
But did you hear the person yell out it was? I mean, there's more of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is it with this new age era of... This was and is a president of the free world, for Christ's sakes. And to stand up and... I don't care what you think about him. He's the president.
Well, the thing is, though, the political parties, regardless of your perspective, have made such a living out of demonizing each other.
Yeah.
The advertising is so filthy and so full of lies that... Why wouldn't it percolate that contempt? Why wouldn't it percolate down to the voters?
Percolate, voters. Maybe. We're talking about extreme fringes here. We're not talking about Johnny Punch Clock and Sally Homemaker.
Every year the extreme fringe grows.
It does. And now it's, almost insignificant. I mean, it's just, we're talking about a handful of people here that are, just decided to be allowed.
But see, what you're seeing here is the far edge of that infection.
Yeah,
there's also a middle ground of that infection, which maybe doesn't manifest itself with people interrupting speeches by president, but still results in that incredible contempt, that personal contempt that we now have for office holders.
Which is ridiculous.
Well, we didn't start the fight.
We had a personal contempt for, politicians, when I was growing up, starting with the Nixon administration.
No, you can't compare this climate with anything then.
The Chicago, what was it, 68? I'm sorry, I was just a baby at the time, but I don't know. I remember growing up with riots and demonstrating in the street and blood and shooting on campuses.
No, but like TV audiences and stuff. It's like, that's kind of creepy.
The TV audiences were more well-behaved.
I mean, that's
civility.
The source of the riots, if you're talking about the Chicago Convention, was the police, not the politicians.
Well, but the other thing...
I remember.
Right.
The other thing, Mike, is people see President Clinton come to town, they think it's Springer, for God's sakes. It's like pretty soon they're going to be holding up signs and chanting, bring him back or something.
Well, even hearing President Clinton say, shut up, is kind of jarring. Like, you're the president. You're not supposed to say shut up.
Well, of course he is.
I don't know.
What's he supposed to do? He's
just that word. It's like...
Terry, a disrespectful
civility.
ass accused the president of the United States.
No, I know
in the
that.
Crowd of
and Bryce, I heard it.
9/11.
I know that wasn't my point.
Wait a second. October 24th. Terry actually listened to something. Let me write this down. Jot down a note.
An inside job? How dare you? How dare you? A fraud? No, it wasn't a fraud, but I'll be glad to talk to you if you'll shut up and let me talk. Now.
What's wrong with that? That was great.
I don't know.
A little bit of humor there.
You got that little...
No, I would defend President Clinton all the way on this one. I'm here making a lot of dough. Don't get me wrong. He makes like $200,000 per speech. But he's there. He's been invited there. He's been paid to be there. He's trying to do his job. And these people won't shut up. Of course, I agree with President Clinton 100%. First of all, how dare you is right on the money. How dare you even do this? Even think that.
Did you see the guy hauled out?
No.
You can picture him right now. Just...
He had some money to fork over to get in.
He was taken outside to his car with his little Coldplay sticker on it and his little coexist and, and his little, I haven't bathed in 6 months. God, these people are disgusting.
I wonder what it was before this, before the 9/11, before 2001. I wonder what just drove him nuts,
Well,
Watergate.
Actually, a lot of these people are still into the Kennedy assassination.
Probably.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they are. I mean, they're... There are groups... There are groups that meet every week or every month of people who get together to discuss the conspiracy of the Kennedy assassination.
That was another inside job, according to them.
Well, I totally believe that one.
So they just refuse to deal with the fact that Grandpa touched them up when they were a kid. I'm like,
what? What?
Well, it probably does resort to some fulcrum of anger that we're not quite able to get at.
Well, and Terry may bear out what you were talking about a few minutes ago. I suppose talking about the government killing Kennedy at that time, it being an inside job, that would be an inside job. The government killing Kennedy at the time must have seemed ludicrous and absolutely implausible back in during the 1960s, and now it's almost probably widely, I don't know, not widely accepted, but easily accepted by many.
Well, I just...
Don't you guys believe it?
That the government killed Kennedy?
That it was an inside job. It was somebody. I mean, it wasn't just that guy. An inside job
would be inside the government.
Well, it could have been the mafia.
Well, they're not inside the government. Well, I guess, maybe.
That's conspiracy, too.
I believe... I've considered all this, and I believe it was an extraterrestrial agent from the planet Pluton.
Sure. Now you're making sense. Now you're making plain sense.
Trying to be serious here.
Serious about what?
About conspiracy theories.
I don't believe in any of them.
Well, 30 years from now, these nutbag fringes, might be, they'll be, Oliver Stone will have made a movie.
Okay, here's the deal. This is why the Kennedy thing.
Well, I guess Cheney probably did pull the trigger.
Okay, the reason the Kennedy thing, people believe that he was assassinated and the government was in on it, is because of the Warren Commission, where the bullet did all the magical stuff, and they said it was one guy.
And now we have a 9/11 commission.
But why would the Warren Commission stick by that? Why not say, okay, yeah, we think it might have been the mafia.
Let's just segue right into abortion. We'll clear it all up now.
We've had many guests on about the Kennedy
right
thing. It's totally different.
They would called in from a phone booth.